Good morning. It is Thursday, May 8th, and I almost wasn't going to do this today because I am personally feeling a little overwhelmed and kind of beat down emotionally, mentally, physically, right, with this energy that we have. And I just have this really unnerving feeling that something is very wrong in the collective. So I was trying not to come on here because I don't want to be quite so negative all the time, but at the same time, the truth is the truth, and difficult times is what creates change. So we need to talk about them, right? So today the moon is in Venus. It's already made a trine to Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. That was that wide open door. If you were kind of feeling this collective uneasiness this morning, which is probably what I was feeling there, it's going to make an opposition to Venus later, actually here in about 2-3 hours or so. And that's where you might see somebody reaching out to you, somebody giving you an ultimatum, somebody putting you in a position to have to make a decision. And then it will make a sextile to Mars, which is an opportunity to take action for yourself. Okay. Now, here's the thing about this, and is that we have some debilities going on here. Both the sun and the moon are being ruled by Venus in Aries. And the best way that I could think to word this when I was doing my video for TikTok this morning was the devil is in control. Okay. And this is because Venus is currently in its morning star position where we want to reach out to people. We want to help people. We want to be part of relationships and friendships and interact with others. But the debility in Aries tends to bring those selfish motivations for reaching out. And a lot of times there can be some kind of manipulative tactics used here, such as anger and violence for intimidation to get you to make a decision. It can be kind of love bomby type of energy. It can be impulsive energy and ultimatums where you have to make a decision right now, where you're not given enough time to really think through anything or make an informed decision about what you need to do. So really watch out for that today. Watch out for other people doing that. Watch out for the temptation for you to do that. We are seeing this collectively. And this is what really got me. They are using food as a weapon. Israel has cut off all aid to Gaza, and they are allowing children to starve to death to take a piece of land. And like I said earlier on my other videos, is that's not godly. That's ego and greed. And but that's very in line with the sun being in Taurus. That is the sign of food, of resources, of things of that nature, and it's being ruled by that Venus and Mars. So there's these selfish reasons, using fear, using food as a weapon is very in line with that. And along with everything else that we're seeing other wars break out, wars between two nuclear powers breaking out. There's a lot going on out there with this energy. And on a personal level, this could show up in ways where you've got people reaching out to you because with nefarious reasons, with selfish reasons. They want something from you. They want you to make them feel better. They want money from you, whatever it is. So make sure that you're really slowing down and taking the time to think through things, because this Venus, in a very, devil, demon type of manner, can be very tempting to either treat others that way or for others to come in and you fall for it type of thing. So we got to be very careful. We got to slow down, and we got to make sure that we're not getting ourselves into any questionable situations right now. And just watch out for that as we go through the day. So I'm going to go through and pull the cards. My personal cards today were horrendous. So I'm hoping that the collective is better. Let's cross our fingers here. So what is the energy for the collective today? We have the World. So this is that ending, completing a cycle. Venus is getting kind of sort of close to the end of its post-retrograde shadow period. That's at 10 degrees. Right now it's at 5 degrees. So we're getting there. We're starting to see the closing out of that retrograde cycle. At that point, All of the personal planets will be out of their post retrograde cycle. So there is this feeling, this energy that these cycles are closing, that things are ending. It's the thing about the World card is you've got to be vulnerable in these endings. Like, you've got to be able to let go of the things that have to go. You've got to acknowledge why things are ending and what needs to be done to start from a better position and things of that nature. So really make sure that you're listening to that part. You're not just like trying to jump from one subject to the next here, okay? But that is that energy of the days that things are ending, things are completing, and it's time for something new to start, okay? Remember, we also have Saturn getting really close to the end of Pisces, and it's going to start brand new in Aries. That's a new story that's going to start, and we're really starting to feel that energy, okay? What to focus on? What does the collective need to focus on right now? The Justice card. Oh, I got two, Justice and Knight of Swords. So here's my arc with Libra energy. Libra is not meant to people please. It's not meant to keep the balance per se through playing devil's advocate, which is really kind of that energy we're in. Libra is meant to exude justice. It is meant to stand up for what is right. It balances the scales by standing up for what is right, by speaking up for what is right, and not just playing devil's advocate and mediator all the time. Libra energy is actually, when it's used in that manner, in a very justice-based manner, when you've got a good handle on what your values are and who you are as an individual, and you put that out into the world and you stand up for what is right, you stand up for those values, that's what Libra is supposed to do. It's putting that justice out into the world. So really focus on that. How are you putting justice into the world? How are you speaking up for things? That moon is going to make that sextile to Mars. That is that opportunity to speak up for what is right, for your values. And it is being ruled by the sun. So standing up for what is right, speaking up for what is right, getting a little feisty if you have to, making sure that people hear you, putting justice out into the world today, okay? What to avoid today? Ace of Swords. And we have the Magician on the bottom. That actually putting these two together here. Just because something is ending doesn't mean we need to immediately jump into something new. Right? Sometimes we got to let this ending completely finish out. Sometimes we got to let the ending finish and sit with it for a minute, right? We don't need to immediately jump into something new all the time. We have a full moon coming up Monday morning that is really intense. And me looking ahead, we've got a lot of really intense times ahead. We've got to deal with what's happening now and stop trying to continuously jump to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing as a way to bypass, right? So there's like this real energy of wanting to like come up with a new idea and just do this next thing and do this next thing. But we really need to be sticking on what is actually happening here in front of us, putting this justice out in the world. We've got like this swords, a lot happening here, where say what you need to say. Don't bypass what's happening right in front of you and jump to the next subject just to avoid what's happening now, okay? With the bottom of the deck being the Magician, this is kind of the Magician is Mercury, right? And a kind of a trickster energy. In Aries, though, it's got a lot to say. So there is this underlying energy of like, there is the trickster energy because it's also ruling that Jupiter in Gemini. But there's also this energy of knowing that you have the tools that you need to create what you need. So watch out for that very trickster type of energy where folks are using words particularly to kind of manipulate things. But know that you have what you need to create this justice. You have the words that you need to put this justice out in the world here. Clarifiers for the world. We have This was very similar to what I got in my personal one. We've got Five of Pentacles and the Queen of Cups. So this ending, this completion, right? It's not easy. There's probably a lot of energy of like feeling like you're being kind of left out in the cold. I know I'm seeing a lot of people say that like everybody else is just going on like everything's normal, right? And it's making them feel very isolated. And that's kind of this Five of Pentacles energy, is that isolation, loss of finances and things like that. And then we've got the Queen of Cups looking at this here, right? So there's like an empathy to this, understanding that these things are ending, they're closing out, and people are struggling with it, and having that empathy to be able to help, okay? So really, that is the energy, wanting to reach out to people that are struggling here, but it's also got that underlying energy with that trickster, right? That magician of, well, they're struggling, so let me come in and help them and get what I need out of them type of energy. So just watch out for that. Clarifiers for justice and the Knight of Swords. We have death and Ace of Pentacles. All right. I can't get a hold of it. Got to have an ending for a new beginning. You have to let things end. You have to, even when they're hard, even when they're devastating, you have to let them in. You have to stand up for what is right. You have to cut people off if they need to be cut off. You have to put that justice out into the world to get this transformation that leads to this new stable beginning, okay? So you make sure that you are, in fact, standing up for what is right, and you're not just going with the flow to avoid the pain of this death card, or avoid the pain, the suffering of this Five of Pentacles. This is a very lonely energy, and nobody wants to be alone, but sometimes you have to, right? Like sometimes that is the price of doing what is right. And that's kind of like that whole being in the world, but not of the world. Standing up for what is right out in this world is difficult. And it does leave you feeling alone a lot of times. It does leave you in this space of like, why does it feel like everything is ending all the time, right? But that's what has to be done in order to get this new stable beginning here, to be able to plant that new seed moving forward. Okay. Clarifiers for our Ace of Swords. I've got a Ten of Pentacles and the Wheel of Fortune here. Ooh. Hey, and there's some more trickster energy on the bottom right there. That Five of Swords, that shadiness, that sleight of hand kind of energy there. That's the underlying force here. So we're avoiding the Ace of Swords. We don't want to jump to the next subject. We don't want to come up with the next idea to do the next thing. We've got to deal with what's happening right in front of us, right? This Ten of Pentacles with the Wheel of Fortune being in this avoid position is like, we have to understand that right now we're not getting this Ten of Pentacles energy. There's too much going on in the world. There are too many things changing. We've got Uranus finishing its cycle here in Taurus. We're not finishing it. It'll come back and do it again. But we're getting towards the end of that. Things are going to get very uncomfortable financially and in the way of resources, right? We can't just keep jumping from one stable, one comfortable situation to the next. We can't be like, oh, this one's starting to fall apart. Here, let me turn that wheel and we're going to go to the next one. We've got to deal with, why do they keep falling apart? Why does this keep happening? We've got to deal with what is happening right in front of us, stand up for what is right, and that way we can actually plant an actual seed to grow a stability that is going to stick this time. So really watch out for this really kind of ugly, manipulative, shady, underhanded kind of energy that's out there. Watch out for your own self being kind of tempted into that type of behavior. And make sure that you are standing up for what is right. You're standing up for what you believe in, your values, and really what's right for everybody around you, right? We've got to get in this space where we're actually worried about the people around us instead of just worried about ourselves, okay? So take that time to slow down If you're finding yourself in these situations where you're either on the receiving end of an ultimatum or you're feeling like you need to give somebody else an ultimatum to get them to do what you want to do, take a step back from that and ask yourself if that's the right thing to do, and make sure that you're standing up for yourself.